one joins when you turn it.
What's that?
Even if nobody joins when you put it there. So I just don't want people to see us training.
Let me turn it this way.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, peeps. Welcome to Renew Live, Wednesday, April 15th edition. We're going to be working through some pretty cool stuff today. In the very beginning, we're going to work through a lot of upper body stuff, shoulder stuff, and then we're going to finish with some hips, ankles, maybe even a little squat positioning near the end, okay? We're going to try and dial down the intensity just a tad. So we'll do a lot of familiar cars movements and maybe one or two kind of intense motions, but nothing quite as intense as the last couple that we've attempted, okay? We're gonna kind of chill out a little bit this week, okay? Or at least today. Sound good? So the only thing you might need for this session will be a yoga block that you'll hold between your knees, particularly in the first half of the class. We'll use that quite a bit. And then once we toss that aside, you pretty much won't need anything. Just a reminder to always kind of self-check, self-regulate, and only move through ranges of motion for you that are pain-free, okay? Do not feel like you have to move into discomfort. That is entirely not the point with this, okay? So be a good judge for yourself and move through pain-free ranges of motion. If you find a particularly nasty area or range of motion, do your best to work around it, not busting through it, okay? Cool. All right, let's get the party started. So we're going to start with a little bit of breathing into our rib cage focus here, okay? And we are going to use our yoga block between the knees for this. And we are going to start in a supine position, AKA lying on our back, okay? I will say the tempo when we do these first few breathing exercises is going to be a 4-second inhale through the nose and a 6-second exhale through the mouth, okay? So you definitely want to be breathing out slower than you're breathing in, okay? Cool. So I'll kind of demonstrate through this as we go through the breathing stuff, okay? Let me just fix my board real quick. Cool. All right, guys, so supine position, like I said, we're gonna have our block, and you're gonna have the knees bent, block between the knees. You don't need to squeeze the Jesus out of this, okay? Just a nice gentle hold in place with the block will be fine. Cool. First thing you're gonna do when you lie on your back, you're gonna take these hands and just sort of drive them palms up toward the ceiling as far as you can, okay? You're gonna try and keep that upper back nice and flat on the ground and your neck nice and flat as well. You want to keep that natural curve in your low back here, okay? And what I'll encourage you to do here, we're gonna take about 10 self-regulated breaths
where we push those shoulder blades up. 4 seconds in through the nose, 6 seconds out through the mouth. Constantly reaching up as high as you can for that ceiling with your palms. Just 2 more. If you need to shake out your lungs, I know that's hard. Got a lot of serratus anterior going in there. Some of you might be tough on your forearm flexors or wrist extensors. That's okay. Shake it out if you need to. What we're going to do now, we're going to go through a series where we do 3 breaths in each position, okay? And the different positions are going to be either with knees up, right? You can take the yoga block and set it aside for now. You're going to go knees up in the 90-90 position, still with your hands facing toward the ceiling. Trying to get that upper back as flat against the ground as you can. You're lengthening that neck and getting that as flat as you can. Let's go 3 breaths in this position. Good. So maintaining this position. What we're going to do as we transition into the next one, we're going to bring that left heel down toward the ground and just barely lightly contact that left heel to the ground. 3 breaths in. 4 seconds through the nose, 6 seconds out through the mouth. Good. We're going to be back up to bend. If you need to shake your arms out a little bit like I do, go for it. Right? We're going to go 3 breaths back in that knees up position. Ready? Begin. Always pushing those palms up toward the ceiling. Good. You need to shake your arms out. Go ahead. The knees are still going to be in this up position. Now, instead of your left heel coming to the ground, what you're going to do is you're going to extend your left leg, I'll say as straight as you can while maintaining your flat upper back, certainly in that comfortable, normal curve in your low back, not an excessive curve. So you're efforting the hands up toward the ceiling, that straight leg, heel just touching the ground barely. You should feel a lot of midline work here. The heel's barely touching the ground. Let's bring that back up to the knees up position. You need to shake your arms out. Go ahead. We're going to do 3 more breaths in this home position. Okay, good. We're going to repeat that same series where we go right heel to the ground for 3 breaths, back up to home position for 3 full cycles of breaths. Right straight leg, heel barely brushing the ground, 3 breaths, and then back to the home position to finish for 3 breaths, okay? So let's bring our hands back up, reaching, press spreading those shoulder blades apart. Right heel comes down, just barely touching the ground, and breathe. Back to home. Shake out your arms if you need to. I do. 3 breaths at home. Cool. A little shake out on the arms if needed. Now, as a reminder, we go to that right as straight a leg as you can comfortably hold your position. Remember that heel just barely touches the ground. It's in contact. It's not just lying there with weight on it, okay? So let's reach, straighten out that leg. Back to home position for our last 3 breaths in the series. Shoulder blades spread as far apart as you can get them, reaching high up to the ceiling. Good job, guys. So just a nice long breathing series, trying to get you comfortable with inward nasal inhales, exhaling while tensing up that midline in some good bracing positions. Okay. Next, we're going to move into some standing neck cars. Okay, we'll kind of work our way down the spine from this point on, going through some neck, scapula, shoulders, all the way down into some low back, hips. Good time. Okay. Cool. So let's go to our standing position. Arms will be at side. When we get into the standing position, we want to make sure that we create some of that good tension here. Okay. So I want to make sure that I have tension in the midline here, as well as some tension in the hips, just to kind of keep me from wavering all around. Okay. So from this position here, I just kind of like to make a nice gentle fist with both hands. I'm trying to keep my hips with a good amount of tension in my middle. Let's just go slowly tuck that chin to chest. I want to rotate over to the left and finish that rotation before I tilt my left ear over my left shoulder, and then extend that head back so that I'm looking up toward the ceiling. Tilt that right ear over that right shoulder, and then rotate across the right collarbone back to center. Rotating over that right collarbone, tilting that right ear over right shoulder, tilting that head back into full extension, tilting that left ear over left shoulder, rotating across that left collarbone back to neutral. That's one full rep. Let's do one more rep just like that. So slowly tucking that chin to chest, rotating to the left, tilting that left ear over left shoulder, full extension, tilting that right ear over right shoulder, rotating across the collarbone, chin to chest. And we're going to reverse that direction, rotating to the right, tilting that right ear over right shoulder, extending that head fully back, tilting that left ear over left shoulder, rotating back to center. Okay, cool guys. Good, so we got a good couple of neck cars in. Next, we're gonna move into our scapular cars, okay? So these can kind of be difficult when we're going in one direction and then the other, but it's really just 4 parts. It's really pushing the shoulder blades apart, what we call protraction, right? So if you kind of see my hand here, there's retraction, and then there's protraction, okay? So when I push my shoulder blades as far apart as they go, that's the first move we want in scapular cars, okay? So push those shoulder blades apart. Then I'm going to elevate up as high as I can. Then I'm going to retract or pinch the shoulder blades together as far as I can. And then I'm going to slide down as far as I can. Okay? Let's go for the second rep of that. Push the shoulder blades apart as far as you can. Lift them up slowly as high as you can. Pinch them together back and up as hard as you can. And then slowly drive them down into your wallet pocket as hard as you can. Okay? One more time. Push them apart as far as you can. Elevate up as high as you can. Pinch them back, retract them back as far as you can. Slide them down into your wallet pocket as far as you can. Good. So that was apart, up, back, down. Okay, not to confuse you, but now we're going to reverse them. So we'll start with them down, and then I want you to pinch them together, and then slowly come up as high as you can. Push them forward as far as you can. Slide them down as far as you can. Bring them back as far as you can. Slide them up as far as you can. Push them forward as far as you can. Really spread them apart. Drive them down as far as you can. Last one. Pinch them together as far as you can. Driving their chest out. Slide them as high as you can. Shrugging your shoulders to ears. Drive them apart as far as you can. Slowly down as far as you can. Good. So when you break it up into 4 movements like that, scap cars don't seem so hard. Just move slow at first. It's a little weird. It's not something you often do, but hopefully I've been doing more often now that we're doing this stuff here. Okay? So let's move next into our 90-90. We're going to work through one of the most important ranges of motion in the shoulder, internal and external rotation. Okay? And I like to kind of specifically do this stuff before we do our shoulder cars. Okay? So let's come up to this 90-degree angle here. All right, so when you do this, and you do this external rotation, like pushing back, you should definitely feel this back part of your shoulder musculature activating. Okay? And also when you do this, when you're coming into internal rotation, you don't want to sort of push your head forward like chicken style, okay? You want to try and stay nice and neutral. Even if it's not a lot of motion in internal rotation or external rotation, you want it to be true motion that is yours. It's okay if you're not good at it or great at it. I'm not either, okay? That's what this practice is for. It's just improve a little bit every day, every week, every month, okay? So just move slowly and get a little bit better every time, okay? So let's go into this 90-degree position here. And we want to try to pretend that we have a stake through my elbow into my shoulder here. And I only want to pivot around that little axis or stake in my upper arm, okay? So let's go 2 arms up. We're going to squeeze back as hard as we can for 3, 2, 1. And we're going to come into internal rotation as far as you can. Squeeze for 3, 2, 1. come slowly back up, pivoting on that upper arm. Squeeze back as far as you can for 1, 2, 3, and then back down into that internal rotation. Squeeze, 3, 2, 1. Coming back up. Squeeze for 3, 2, 1. Coming internal rotation. 3, 2, 1. External rotation. 3, 2, 4. Let's do our 4th internal rotation. 3, 2, 4. External rotation. 3, 2, 5. Internal rotation. 3, 2, 5. Good, guys. We're going to do that same sort of internal, external rotation, only now we're going to do it with a straight arm out to the side. So this is really going to be like almost palms up as far as you can go, and then palms up the other way, or down. Okay? Does that make sense? So it's going to be a straight arm, internal, external rotation. Okay. Again, this motion for the shoulder and for the hip, in reality, both of those ball and socket joints, internal, external rotation, so important for the health of that joint. Okay. You want to have these things, your joints, for as long as you're alive. Okay. We don't need any robotic joints, or for those of you that already have them, we want to keep those healthy too. Okay. So arms are going to be straight. Let's start with palms up, and we're going to try to drive our palms up even further and hold for 3, 2, 1. And now we're going to wring out the towel in the opposite direction. 3, 2, 1. Open back up. External rotation. 3, 2, 2. Bring it back out into internal rotation. 3, 2, 2. Open back up into external rotation. 3, 2, 3. Back into internal rotation. 3, 2, 3. Open back up for 4th external rotation. 3, 2, 4. Internally rotate. 3, 2, 4. Last one. 3, 2, 5. Internally rotate and squeeze hard. 3, 2, 5. Good, guys. Go ahead and shake the arms out a little bit. That was straight arm, internal, external rotation. Now we're going to go ahead and apply all this awesome internal, external rotation to our shoulder cars, which we're going to do in a half kneel position. Okay. But we're going to say today we're going to do our shoulder cars on the down leg side. So if I'm on my right knee in this half kneel position, I'll be doing a shoulder car with my right hand. Okay, and we'll switch sides when we do left hand. Sound good? So we're just going to move really slowly and really thoroughly through this full shoulder car here. Okay, you want to try to investigate every square centimeter of rotation that we get out of this. Okay, so let's start with palm facing forward at your side. Other hand can either be on your thigh, or you can kind of check yourself at your rib cage here. Make sure you're not overextending up the spine during this movement, because we want pure shoulder joint movement today. Okay, we're going a little bit less intense today, but we're also being more attentive to the simple stuff. Fundamentals done really well today. Okay, so palm facing forward. We're going to bring that straight arm across the body. We're going to kind of get up to that bicep near the ear. Pause here for a second. Make sure you're reaching as high, long arm as you can while we internally rotate and wring out that towel of the arm. Straight arm reaching back while continuing to pay attention to internal rotation and body lean. Continue to fight for more internal rotation. We'll end up the back of the hand on the thigh here. Okay. Now we're going to reverse that motion back into as much extension as you can get with a straight arm. Start opening up, back and up. Opening up that arm just a little bit. Good. And you end up that bicep by your ear, palm facing up as you sweep across the front of that body. Okay. That's one full rep on our right side. We're going to go one more. Same line of action, palm facing forward. Sweep across that body, palm is up, holding that cup of soup. Slowly until we get to that bicep next to the ear. Wring out that towel with internal rotation. Reaching up and back. Internally rotate. Consistently trying to get more and more of that. You see I had a little torso lean there. Brody. Back of hand against the thigh. Reach into extension. Externally rotate. Now as we start to open up. Bicep sweeps by ear. Palm up. Sweeping back through. Good job, guys. So those 2 full reps on our right shoulder. Now we'll move into our left shoulder. Okay? Same line of action. Things to pay attention to or to consistently remember to constantly fight for that internal rotation as you come through here. Okay? Don't find yourself like palm still open as you're finishing that motion. Sound good? Okay, so same thing. Palm facing forward. Other hand can be either on rib cage, on the thigh, whatever will kind of keep you honest. Okay? Palm facing up. You're going to cross that body. Long, long arm. Pause for a second with your bicep next to your ear. Internally rotate that hand. Start reaching straight arm back and high. Reach, reach, reach. More internal rotation. Reaching back and low. Internally rotating to the back of that hand. Ends up at the thigh. Reach into extension. Start opening up an external rotation, but reach straight arm. Reach. Fight for more reach. Externally rotate a bit more. Open up until that palm is next to the ear. The bicep next to the ear. Palm up, sweeping across that body. Okay? 1 full rep there. Let's go rep number 2. Same thing. Palm facing forward, across the body with a straight arm. Slowly up into that bicep next to the ear. Bring out that towel, the internal rotation. Reach back. Straight arm, reach back, internally rotate, reaching back, internally rotating until the back of the hand sweeps next to the thigh. Reverse, externally rotate, up, long, palm up, and across the front of that body. Good, guys. That was 2 full reps, shoulder bars, after a lot of internal, external rotation. I do want to go into one last thing with the shoulders here. I want to go into a kneeling 90-90 with the shoulders here. What we're going to do is we're going to hold one arm where we squeeze those backside muscles. So we get into this external rotation effort here. I want you to exert some tension and effort in that external rotation with one arm, while the other arm, we're going to be moving through internal and external rotation, just like we did before, right? Only now we're providing one sort of stimulus on one side, an isometric stimulus, and then a dynamic exploration of motion on the other side, okay? So we're gonna end up doing 3 reps of these on each side, okay? So I want you to be really conscious of not paying attention to just the side I'm squeezing or just the side I'm moving, but sort of having the flexibility from a mental aspect of checking back and forth on each one, okay? So once you lock in that external rotation, you're just fighting for it, even as you're moving consistently through here, okay? So let's start with our right arm in that stationary position. Both arms will be up into here. Let's squeeze that right arm back and hold, and then slowly start bringing that left arm into internal rotation. Squeeze that right arm. Left arm slowly starting to come back up. And then squeeze and match the right arm. Right arm still squeeze. Slowly internally rotate for rep 2 on the left arm. Squeeze that right arm. Slowly bring that left arm back up to match the right arm. Okay? Last rep. Squeeze that right arm. Internally rotate. The left. Right arm squeeze. Left arm. Externally rotate. Good, guys. It's kind of hard, right? It's kind of like rub your head and pat your belly, or pat your head and rub your belly, whatever it is. I can't even say it right, okay? So shake that out a little bit. I know I'm gonna get a quick drink. And now we're gonna go into left arm as the isometric holding position, right? We're going back with effort while we move the right arm through those 2 ranges of motion, okay? So let's squeeze that left arm. Right arm starts to come into internal rotation slowly. Squeeze that left arm, right arm squeeze. Right arm slowly comes back up to match or exceed the left arm. Left arm stays hard, squeezing, squeezing, squeezing while the right arm comes down. Moving back into external rotation. 2 reps so far, good. And then back into last internal rotation with that right arm, squeeze it. Get that left arm stationary. Slowly coming back up. Squeeze and finish. Good job, guys. I just wanted to add in that little mental treat as well as the internal external rotation treat for the shoulder. Cool? Okay. So last week we did a little bit of the supine position, lumbar extension flexion, which is like how we do the cat camel, only lying on our back. So it's really a really thorough pelvic tilt where we squeeze and pour that pelvis out forward, and then we scoop and squeeze that pelvis back posterior, okay? I want to be sure to go through 10 slow, thorough reps for this. We're going to go through the lumbar aspect. We're going to go through some hip cars, and then we're going to start to floss some hamstrings from a supine position, okay? So our next 3 positions here will be from a supine stance. Sound good? So let's start with the supine lumbar flexion extension. This is where we want to kind of in a back and forth tennis match, flatten that back as hard as we can into the core, and then tilt it up as hard as we can, right? So I'll sit in this or lie in this supine position here. You can have hands at side. I like my hands on my rib cage just to make sure I don't flare my rib cage out a lot. And instead, a lot of the motion, all of the motion, hopefully, is coming from just that pelvic tilt, okay? So the first and easiest point of this is probably going to be flattening that back into the ground, okay? So I just want you to tilt that pelvis back and literally squash your low back into the ground as hard as you can for 1, 2, 3. And then I want you to tilt that pelvis forward. So you're lifting that back off like a rainbow, but keeping your rib cage from flaring. For 3, 2, 1. Slowly back into that low back, flattening into the ground as hard as possible. For 3, 2, 2. Tilting that pelvis forward, creating that little rainbow effect in your low back. 3, 2, 2. Flattening that low back into the ground for the 3rd rep. 3, 2, 3. Lifting that low back, tilting that pelvis. 3, 2, 3. Flattening that low back for rep number 4. 3, 2, 4. Keeping that rib cage as motionless as possible throughout. Arching for 3, 2, 4. Flattening that low back. 3, 2, 5. Tilting that pelvis forward. Arching. 3, 2, 5. Flattening that low back. 3, 2, 6. A lot of effort in that flattening. A lot of effort in the arching. 3, 2, 6. Flattening and smashing that ground. 3, 2, 7. Arch number 7. 3, 2, 7. Slowly coming down and flattening. 3, 2, 8. Slowly back up into arch. 3, 2, 8. Back down into flat. 3, 2, 9. Up into arch, pelvic tilt forward. 3, 2, 9. Pelvic tilt posterior. 3, 2, 10. Last pelvic tilt anterior. 3, 2, 10. Excellent, everybody. So hopefully we got a nice little brush up on pelvic flexion and extension control as a way to contact some of that lumbar.
or spinal flexion and extension control, okay? Now we're gonna move into our hip cars, okay? We're gonna do these from a supine position, which I tend to think is like probably the least intense and feels the nicest to me. You may or may not agree, but I wanna go through supine hip cars today, okay? So let's start on our right leg, since it's my nearest to the camera here. All you need to do is kind of put your hands flat. Your other leg can be straight, it can be bent, however you're most comfortable. I'm gonna keep mine straight today, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is bring that knee or thigh up to your rib cage, and then you're gonna open up that hip into external rotation. You're just gonna sweep it sort of down and around, bringing that leg out. And sweeping out, back up to that rib cage, straightening that leg into extension. Knee up to rib cage, sweeping out, down, or around and down as we straighten out that leg, and reverse. Bending that knee out, around, and up, back to that rib cage, extending that leg back down. Number 3, thigh to rib cage. Open up those hips. That knee out, down, and around. Reverse that motion. Up, out, and around. Thigh to rib cage. Straighten that leg back, heel to ground. Last one on this side. Thigh to rib cage. Externally rotate. Out, down, back to center. Reversing from center out, around, and up. Sweeping that leg in a big circle. Thigh to rib cage. And extend. Good. Let's switch and do that left side. Same exact motion. Bottom leg can be straight. Let's start by bringing that thigh to rib cage. Open up those hips out, around, and down. Back to center line. Reverse that motion. Out, up, and around. Thigh to rib cage. Leg back out straight. One complete motion. Thigh back to rib cage. Out, around, and down. Back to midline. And reverse. Out, around, and up. Thigh to rib cage. Leg back to center line. Rep number 2 done. Thigh to rib cage. Out, open, sweeping down to center. Center up, out, and around. Back to midline. Third rep. Let's go one more time. Thigh to rib cage. Open, around, and down. Back to midline. Reverse. Open, up, and around. Thigh to rib cage. Back to center line. Good. So just some basic supine cars. We're trying to articulate that ball and socket joint in the hips briefly before we go into some hamstring flossing, okay? AKA 90-90 hip flexion, knee extension work. Sound cool? All right, so when we do this, I think we did this last week. This was a favorite for a lot of people, myself. So selfishly, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in because I love it. All right, so when we're in this position here, all I want you to do, you're gonna lie supine and you're gonna bring that knee to this 90-degree, that hip to this 90-degree position. We're gonna apply just a little bit of pressure on the side here as we gently just extend that leg as straight as we can. Flex that back down, hold for a second, drive that heel back up toward the ceiling, okay?
So we're going to end up doing 10 slow reps of this knee extension with hip flexion. Okay, let's give it a shot. So hip at 90 degrees, hand gently against the knee to keep it from going too far up or down. Let's just reach with that heel for 1, 2. Heel back down to butt. Drive it slowly back up. 1, 2. Really trying to squeeze those quads. Heel back down to butt. Slowly extending for 1, 3. Slowly back down. Driving that heel up. 1, 4. Bringing that heel back down. Okay, you might get a cramp in your hip like I just did. That's okay. Shake it out. Back up. 1, 5. Bring it back down. Drive that heel up. 1, 6. Slowly back down. Heel coming back up. 1, 7. Slowly back down. Driving that heel up. 1, 8. Bring that heel back down. Last 2 guys, doing fantastic. Drive that heel up. 1, 9. Slowly back down. Last one. 1, 10. Good. Okay. Shake out that hip cramp or some of that hammy fun that was in there. Okay. We're going to switch and do opposite side. Okay. So we're going to left leg. Same thing. Off leg can be bent. It can be straight. This leg, you just want to have the 90-degree hip position, hand gently against the knee. It's the heel we're going to drive up toward the ceiling, not just this pointed toe, the heel drive. Okay? So let's bring it up. Heel drives up for 1, 1. Slowly back down. Heel drives up. 1, 2. Slowly back down. Driving that heel up. 1, 3. Slowly back down. Up for number 4. 1, 4. Slowly back down. 1, 5. Slowly back down. 1, 6. Slowly back. Up. 1, 7. Back down. 1 back up for 8. Drive with that heel. 1, 8. Really trying to squeeze those quads. The more you can squeeze the quad, the more you can stretch the hamstring. 1, 9. Or relax it, I should say. Back up. Good. Good job, guys. Come back down from there. Excellent. So we just did sort of 10 per side hip flexion, knee extension combo. Which is pretty useful considering all the stuff we do in exercise every day. Okay? Cool. Last thing I kind of want to go through here is just a little bit of squat bottom and range holds after we do a little bit of ankle cars, and then we'll finish with a squat bottom and some breathing. Sound cool? So let's just sit on our butt. When we do the ankle cars here, I just like to kind of sit in this position here, right? And I'll put my foot sort of in this position here. I'll just rest my leg on my other leg, essentially, okay? So all we're gonna do here, we're gonna pull those toes up towards you, start drawing a really big circle with your big toe. We're gonna go 3 in one direction, and then 3 in the other direction. These are still really challenging for me. Good, let's reverse. Big circles there. You can see I kind of move my lower leg and knee where I really shouldn't. I should articulate a lot better at my ankle. So don't be like me. Get some more pure movement out of your ankle. I'll try to do better on my next side. Okay? Same sort of thing on this side. Just kind of prop that leg up with your other foot or other leg.
Let's pull those toes up towards you. Out. Point the toe and down. Point the toe and up. Around. 3 in one direction. And then let's reverse it. 3 in the other direction. Good, guys. Okay, I wanted to go through a little bit of those ankle cards because I personally love to have kind of some fresh moving ankle joints when I squat. I think it's extremely important, and most of us overlook that dramatically when we're trying to squat better. Okay, so ankles, 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 ankles. You almost can't work on them too much. Okay, sound good? So let's work on some squat bottom end range holds. We're going to do 5 reps. Okay, we're going to go down into our squat bottom, on each rep, whatever that is. We're going to come a quarter way out and then back into the next squat bottom. Okay, we're going to end up doing 5 seconds holds, 5-second holds for each bottom position. Sound good? So I guarantee you're going to end up in a lot better place than you start. So rep 5 will look a lot nicer and feel a lot nicer than rep 1. Okay, so let's just kind of come up. Here's my camera angle here. Let's come up into our body weight squat position here. Okay, let's just kind of, I like to have my hands out in front, my feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. I'm just going to come down into my squat bottom position here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's come up about a quarter of the way. Pull yourself back down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 2. Come back up a quarter. Pull yourself back down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 3. Up a little ways. Back down. Pull yourself back down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 4. Last one is come up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 5. Good. Let's just come out of there. I like to do one full air squat too, just to kind of settle it in nicely. Good. Okay, last thing I want to finish with, just our kind of cool down breathing. I've just kind of grown to love this cool down breathing method here, where we just kind of go through breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth as a way to kind of calm down and finish and go on the rest of our day feeling amazing. Okay. So for the first 3 breaths, let's just kind of breathe on our own. There's no tempo involved. We'll get into tempos in a second. Finish breathe. Pretty cool with a flourish. Okay, so let's just breathe. Take a few seconds here. Okay. Next, let's move into our nasal inhale. We'll say 4 seconds here, and then mouth exhale for 4 seconds here. Okay. Okay. And then as always, I like to finish with 3 breaths where we come in for 4 seconds through the nose, and then we really use that diaphragm to force out that breath. Okay. It's important to kind of get those contractile muscles in your diaphragm to do a little bit of work for you to kind of pay attention and get that breathing work. Okay. So it's a 4-second gentle inhale with a blast, like you're trying to fog up a cold window. Okay. Let's breathe in through the nose. Good. And then just kind of chill, relax, and go on about your day. Feeling amazing. Okay. You guys did a good job today with a lower intensity, just getting a lot of major ball and socket joint movements, a lot of thorough rotations. Just want to get a nice, relaxed, less intense weekend for you guys. All right. So have an awesome Wednesday.
Thursday. Have an awesome rest of your week. I'll see you guys on Brutal Friday.